Hey everyone, welcome to the Bold and Beautiful 24. I'm Alessio, and I'm so excited to have you here. If you love Bold and Beautiful, then you're in the right place. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Alright, let's dive right in.
It feels like every time we think the bold and the beautiful has already taken us to the very edge of scandal, betrayal, and heartbreak, the show somehow manages to push us one step further into a storm of secrets and revelations. And right now the latest bombshell that has rocked Los Angeles is one that nobody, absolutely nobody, saw coming, because just as Luna Nozawa's world has been spiraling out of control from the fallout of her lies, her feuds, and her supposed pregnancy scandal, suddenly, Electra Forrester, who has been one of the most outspoken critics of Luna's chaos, has dropped her own shocking confession. Electra herself is pregnant too, and the timing of this revelation has left the Forrester, Spencer, and Logan families reeling, because now it isn't just Luna caught in the center of messy paternity questions, betrayal, and manipulative games, but also Electra, and her news forces everyone to start re-examining every single relationship, and every single decision that has led to this moment. Because if you thought one unexpected pregnancy could shake up this dynasty, imagine what happens when two women already bitter enemies are now both carrying children that could tie them forever to powerful men, to family empires, and to rivalries that cut so deep they threaten to destroy everyone in their path. And yet, while most people in Los Angeles are stunned into silence by Electra's tearful confession, Luna is not, because instead of being humbled or shaken, Luna has decided to respond in the only way Luna seems to know how these days, with a dangerous, reckless, and almost unhinged plan that she believes will secure her place, protect her secrets, and ultimately guarantee that she, and not Electra, emerges victorious in this battle of legacy, love, and power. And when I tell you this plan is crazy, I don't mean mildly dramatic. I mean jaw-droppingly outrageous in the kind of way that only soap operas can truly deliver, because Luna isn't content to simply let fate decide or to allow the men in her life to step forward with honesty. Instead, she's plotting behind closed doors, whispering to herself in mirrors, pacing her apartment late at night, scribbling in journals, and telling herself over and over again that destiny belongs to those who are bold enough to take it. And Luna, in her mind, believes that if she can pull this off, she will not only erase every doubt about her character, but also secure a future that places her squarely at the center of the Forrester-Spencer world. Even if it means betraying people who once trusted her, even if it means risking everything in ways that could backfire spectacularly. And while Electra is sitting in quiet moments with Ivy and other allies, crying about how scared she is to face motherhood alone, and worrying about how her news will change the way people see her, Luna is already 4 steps ahead, calculating, manipulating, and telling herself that this is war, because in Luna's mind there is no world where both of them can win. There is no peaceful solution where both babies are celebrated equally. No, Luna is convinced that if Electra's pregnancy is allowed to overshadow hers, she will be forgotten, dismissed, and ultimately destroyed. So she's decided to take control of the narrative, and her plan, as insane as it sounds, revolves around twisting the truth of paternity, fabricating timelines, planting seeds of doubt, and possibly even setting up scenarios where Electra could be exposed as a liar, or worse, as someone who doesn't even deserve to carry the child she claims to. And that's where the tension becomes unbearable, because fans watching this unfold are torn between sympathy and horror. Sympathy for the young women whose lives are being reshaped by motherhood, by judgment, and by betrayal, but horror at the lengths Luna seems willing to go to secure her victory. And if you pause and think about it, what's most chilling here is how far removed Luna seems from the sweet, wide-eyed dreamer she once was when she first arrived in Los Angeles, because now she's hardened, sharper, and yes, almost ruthless. And maybe it's the Forrester environment, maybe it's the constant rejection, or maybe it's something darker in her DNA, a legacy of manipulation and control inherited from her own family. But one thing is clear. Luna is no longer playing fair, she's playing to win. And the question now is whether her so-called crazy plan will actually succeed or whether it will implode and drag everyone down with her. Because as Electra clutches her stomach and quietly admits to Ivy that she'll raise her baby alone if she has to, Luna is out there whispering to herself that she will never, ever be alone again. Not if she controls the story, not if she forces the world to bend to her version of the truth. And while Bill Spencer, Rich Forrester, Brooke Logan, and even Finn are still trying to process the enormity of Electra's revelation, they have no idea that Luna is already moving chess pieces on the board, setting traps, and preparing to unleash chaos that could make every past scandal look tame by comparison. And the terrifying part of all this is that in Luna's world, her pregnancy isn't just about bringing a child into the world. It's about leverage, it's about power, it's about survival. And in her twisted thinking, if Electra's pregnancy threatens her, then Electra herself has become the enemy, and enemies in Luna's book must be neutralized. So when we talk about crazy plans, we're not just talking about a little scheming or a bit of manipulation. We're talking about something that could shake the very foundation of the Forrester family, something that could lead to lies exposed in hospital rooms, DNA tests tampered with, desperate confessions at the worst possible times, and confrontations that spiral into physical danger. Because if Luna is pushed too far, if Electra refuses to back down, then who knows how dark this story could turn. And maybe that's the genius of this storyline. Because right now viewers are torn, asking themselves who to root for, who to trust, and who will be standing at the end of it all. And while Electra's pregnancy has added a new layer of heartbreak and vulnerability to her character, Luna's descent into dangerous plotting has added a layer of suspense and fear that is unlike anything we've seen from her before, and it leaves us all asking one chilling question. How far is Luna willing to go to make sure her child, her future, and her name come first? And as the dust continues to settle from Electra's revelation, the ripple effects spread like wildfire through Los Angeles, because when a Forrester makes a confession of this magnitude, the whole city listens. And suddenly every whispered conversation in the Forrester Creations offices, every side glance at Il Giardino, every tense pause in the Spencer mansion is laced with speculation. Who is the father? How will this affect the company? What alliances will shift now that two women both claim to be carrying heirs to legacies worth billions? And while Electra is overwhelmed with fear, clutching her stomach as though she can physically shield her unborn child from the judgment of the world, Luna is moving differently, her eyes sharp, her voice lower, her tone dripping with a strange mix of determination and madness, as she begins to outline to herself exactly how she will ensure that her baby, her legacy, comes out on top. And what's both fascinating and terrifying is how calm she seems about it. As though she's convinced herself that the ends justify any means, no matter how underhanded or cruel, because to Luna, the idea of losing, of being overshadowed by Electra, is worse than death. And in that mindset she's starting to put the pieces together for a scheme that could shatter lives and expose every hidden vulnerability in the families tied up in this drama. And the scariest part is that the more people doubt her, the more powerful she feels, because in her twisted logic, doubt is fuel, skepticism is motivation. And every time someone like Steffi or Brooke raises an eyebrow, Luna silently tells herself she'll make them regret it. And this madness builds like a storm cloud hanging over Beverly Hills, promising thunder, lightning, and devastation. Already, Luna has begun setting the stage, starting small, planting seeds of doubt about Electra's timing, casually remarking in passing that she doesn't quite understand how Electra could possibly know so soon, subtly questioning whether Electra is telling the truth about how far along she is. And in doing so she's forcing people to hesitate, to wonder, to consider the possibility that Electra herself might be playing games. And this is classic Luna, turning suspicion away from herself by magnifying suspicion elsewhere. And the brilliance of her plan, if we can call it brilliance, lies in its slow build. Because Luna isn't rushing, she's carefully, methodically reshaping the narrative around her until people begin to question their own instincts. And while she's orchestrating this psychological chess match, Electra is unraveling emotionally, her voice cracking as she admits to Ivy that she never wanted to be in competition with Luna, that all she ever wanted was to live honestly, to raise her baby with love. And the irony is painful, because while Electra is baring her soul, Luna is hardening hers, making herself immune to guilt, immune to remorse, telling herself over and over that softness is weakness. And in that repetition, she's transforming into someone new, someone darker, someone more dangerous than ever before. The men, of course, are caught in the middle, and Bill Spencer in particular finds himself reliving his past mistakes, because this is not the first time he's been surrounded by pregnancy scandals, paternity doubts, and manipulative women. But this time it feels different, heavier, almost as if history itself is repeating but with consequences that are sharper, more permanent. And when Ridge Forrester demands answers, when Finn struggles to understand how both women could be pregnant at the same time under such murky circumstances, all Luna does is smile, because in her mind their confusion is part of the plan, their desperation is her weapon, and the more chaotic things become, the more control she believes she has. But what Luna doesn't see, or perhaps refuses to see, is how much danger she's putting herself in, because crazy plans have a way of spiraling beyond the control of even the most determined schemer. And if one person, just one, begins to piece together her lies, then the entire fragile empire she's building could collapse overnight. And yet Luna doesn't seem to care, because she's convinced she's invincible, convinced that fate is on her side, convinced that her baby is destined to carry the most powerful name in Los Angeles. And if she has to lie, cheat, manipulate, or even destroy someone else to make it happen, then so be it. And this is where the real tension rises, because Electra's pregnancy is already fragile, already filled with fear and doubt, and the thought of Luna targeting her, trying to discredit her, is enough to push her toward a breakdown. And in one particularly haunting moment, she tells Ivy through tears that she feels like she's living in someone else's nightmare, like she's trapped in a competition she never wanted to enter, and Ivy, protective as ever, vows that she won't let Luna destroy Electra. But we all know how these stories go. Good intentions are rarely enough when you're up against someone as relentless as Luna has become. And the frightening part is that Luna's crazy plan may not even stop at words, because the way she watches Electra, the way her eyes narrow when Electra speaks, the way her hands clench when Electra dares to claim she'll raise her baby with pride, suggests that Luna may be willing to take things to physical extremes if she feels threatened enough. And that possibility sends chills through every scene, because what starts as a battle of words could very easily escalate into a battle of actions. And in The Bold and the Beautiful, those kinds of battles often end in hospital rooms, police interrogations, or even worse. And if Luna loses control, if her crazy plan shifts into violent desperation, then Electra may not just lose her reputation, she may lose everything. But the more you think about it, the more tragic it becomes, because underneath all the scheming and plotting, there is still a girl in Luna who just wants to be loved and to belong. Perhaps that is the saddest part, because she has convinced herself that the only way to secure love is to manipulate, force, and trap it, even though in reality, that is the most sure way to destroy it. As viewers, we can see the path she is taking, the edge she is approaching, and we know that when she finally crosses that line, there may be no turning back. But Luna can't see it. She won't see it because her eyes are too focused on her prize, and now that Electra's baby is on the horizon, making her grip tighter, her mind darker, her plans crazier, and her soul more dangerous. If the Forrester, Spencer, and Logan families don't realize the danger soon, it may be too late. And so here we stand, on the edge of what could be one of the most shocking storylines in years. Two women both carrying secrets, both carrying babies, both carrying futures that will collide in ways nobody can fully predict, but only one of them willing to risk everything, to manipulate everything, to burn down everything in her path if it means she gets what she wants. And that woman is Luna. And the crazy part is, she doesn't see herself as the villain. She sees herself as the hero of her own story, the mother fighting for her child, the lover fighting for her place, the survivor fighting for her destiny. And maybe that's the most dangerous kind of villain there is. The one who truly believes she's doing the right thing. Because when you believe that deeply, there's nothing you won't do, no line you won't cross, no person you won't betray. And as the storm builds in Los Angeles, we can only sit back and wonder how far Luna's crazy plan will go, and how much devastation it will leave in its wake, because one thing is certain. By the time this story is over, nothing, and no one, will ever be the same again. And the more the story twists, the more we realize that what's unfolding here isn't just about two women becoming mothers. It's about a war of perception, because in the world of the Forresters, image is everything. Who is celebrated, who is shamed, who gets written into the family legacy, and who gets erased. And Luna, more than anyone else, knows that if she lets Electra's news steal the spotlight, if she lets Electra become the tragic, heroic mother-to-be, then she herself will be left standing in the shadows, forgotten, dismissed, treated as a mistake. And that thought terrifies her more than anything, which is why she's digging her heels in deeper, crafting this insane plan that she believes will not just protect her but elevate her. Because in Luna's mind, the story isn't about truth, it's about narrative, it's about whose version of events becomes the one everybody repeats. And she is determined that her version, her story, will be the one that sticks, and so she starts manipulating everything around her. She tweaks timelines, drops subtle lies, carefully calculates who she confides in and what she tells them, playing people off of each other until they're so wrapped up in her drama that they don't know what's real anymore. And in the middle of it all, Electra is collapsing under the pressure, sobbing to Ivy that she doesn't want to be seen as another scandal, that she doesn't want her baby to be born under a cloud of lies and whispers, and Ivy, trying to comfort her, promises that honesty will win out in the end. But we know, and deep down Electra knows too, that in the Forrester world, honesty isn't always rewarded. Sometimes it's the best liar who walks away with everything. And that's what makes Luna's descent so terrifying to watch, because she isn't stumbling, she isn't flailing, she's deliberate, precise, chillingly calm in her madness. And that calmness is what allows her to keep her mask on in public, smiling sweetly in front of Ridge or Steffi, nodding politely when Brooke tries to interrogate her, pretending to be fragile and vulnerable when Finn looks at her with suspicion. But the moment she's alone, her face hardens, her eyes darken, and she whispers to herself about destiny, about legacy, about victory, as though she's casting spells into the air, trying to manifest the future she wants no matter how much reality fights back against her. And the more she whispers, the more convinced she becomes that she's untouchable, that she's smarter than all of them, that she's already won. And maybe that's what makes her truly dangerous. Not just her lies but her belief in them, her absolute conviction that she's right, because that conviction gives her the strength to push further than anyone else would dare. Meanwhile, the men at the center of this tangled web are left reeling, because every whispered word about paternity tests, about timelines, about who might be the father of these children, sends shockwaves through the family tree. And Bill Spencer, who has fought his whole life to keep control of his empire, finds himself on the verge of breaking as he realizes he may soon be tied, permanently, to women he doesn't trust and to choices he never meant to make, while Ridge, already overwhelmed by trying to keep Forrester Creations afloat amidst constant scandals, feels his temper boiling every time Luna or Electra's names are mentioned. And Finn, caught in the crossfire between his loyalty to Steffi and his complicated connection to Luna, is losing sleep, pacing at night, wondering how everything spiraled so quickly out of control. And all the while, Luna just smiles, because their panic is her advantage, their desperation her opportunity, and she thrives in the chaos because chaos is exactly what she's orchestrating. But even as Luna convinces herself she's winning, there are cracks beginning to show, moments where her mask slips, moments where the weight of her lies presses too heavily against her chest. And in those moments we catch glimpses of the young woman she used to be, the one who just wanted love, the one who just wanted acceptance. And it's almost heartbreaking, because you can see that somewhere deep inside, Luna still craves those things, but she's buried them under layers of manipulation and control, telling herself that love can't be trusted, that honesty is weakness, that the only way forward is to fight, and that choice is shaping her into someone nearly unrecognizable, someone whose very name could one day become synonymous with scandal and destruction. And as viewers we're left asking ourselves whether Luna even realizes what she's becoming, whether she has any idea how dangerous she looks, not just to Electra, but to herself, because if this plan blows up, and we all know soap opera plans always blow up, it won't just destroy Electra's world, it'll destroy Luna's too. And the tragedy is that she won't see it until it's far too late. So here we are, standing at the edge of a storyline that feels bigger than life, two women both carrying futures inside them, both facing judgment, both tied to powerful men and families, but only one of them willing to gamble everything, to set fire to every bridge, to risk every ounce of her soul for the chance to win. And that's Luna. And her crazy plan is no longer just a rumor, no longer just a whisper in the background. It's real, it's moving, it's unfolding step by step before our eyes. And every person in Los Angeles is about to get caught in the blast, because when Luna plays her game, she doesn't just play for herself, she plays with everyone's lives. And by the time the truth comes out, by the time the DNA tests are revealed, by the time the lies are dragged into the light, there won't just be broken hearts, there will be broken families, broken alliances, and maybe even broken lives. And the question hanging over all of us is simple yet terrifying. When the dust finally settles, whose baby will carry the legacy, and whose life will be left in ruins?